Ooh, the takedown of Paris Dennard was petty, messy, and oh so satisfying. Now, I've talked about this on my page a couple of times, and I don't mind talking about it again. But in order to talk about it, we've got to go down memory lane. So this video is going to be as usual, I have long videos. So this is when CNN was popping, okay? Back when Donald Trump was campaigning for president in 2016. CNN was popping. They had Chris Cuomo and they had Don Lemon. And their shows were very popular because the political commentators that made appearances on their shows was April Ryan, Bakari Sellers, Angela Rye, Simone Sanders. They were all representing the Democrat side. And then you had political commentators like Paris Dennard, Jason Miller, Kayleigh McEnany. They were the popular three that represented Donald Trump and the Republicans. Donald Trump becomes president and he starts doing a lot of shady things. One of the shady things that he did was he revoked a bunch of high security people. He revoked their security clearances. And so they were talking about this on CNN. And CNN had a CIA commentator by the name of Phil Mudd. I'm not sure if that's his proper title, but Phil Mudd worked with the CIA. So he brought his experience and expertise to this particular segment. I've got the segment. I'm going to speed it up for the sake of time, but let's watch it. And while we're watching it, I want you to pay attention to Phil Mudd's face as all of this is going down.
I think the president was wrong to remove the security clearance under threat of taking away people's voice here.
What we have seen since John Brennan's security clearance has been revoked is that nobody's voice has been silenced. Mr. Cohen came on your program, said whatever he wanted to. Others have come on and said exactly what they want to. They continue to be contributors on cable news. They continue to tweet as they wish. Phil Mudd came on this program tonight and said he won't be silenced. So the idea that somehow revoking their security clearance is going to silence them is not true. So they're still talking.
Why is the president doing it? To what end?
I think what we have to look at is the idea of norms and laws and privileges and rights. And these are all getting confused under this administration with people thinking that because something was a norm means that it's law. That's not the case. A lot of these people that have these security clearances, and this is the secret in the swampy Washington, D.C., they have them and they keep them because it's profitable for them after they leave government. Because if you have a security clearance, especially high-level security clearances, your contracts and your consulting give pay you a lot more money because of the access that you have. I hope the president continues to do this, and I hope he adds Omarosa to the list, because if she has a clearance, she too, because of her actions, should have it revoked.
Well, I don't know if I'd put Omarosa in the same category, the 75 people who signed those letters, but Phil Mudd, I imagine you want to react.
Profitable, Paris. When I am requested to sit on an advisory board, let me ask you one question. How much do you think I'm paid to do that at the request of the U.S. government? Give me one answer, and you got 10 seconds. How much?
I'll ask you a question. How much are you paid for your
answer the question
contracting gig for being a?
I have no contracts with the U.S. government that pay money.
I'm not talking.
Zero.
And this is the thing.
When
I'm not talking about
asked to offer advice to the U.S. government,
Phil,
I
let's be honest.
Zero.
Phil, let's be honest. I'm not talking about your role with the federal government. I'm talking about the contracting gigs that you get from being a consultant and a contractor. The consulting firms that they form and that you all get is because you get more money when having a consultant for having the security clearance.
That is incorrect.
Like that doesn't happen.
I have
that's
zero consulting relationships with the U.S. government. Zero.
I'm not talking, Phil. That's a good talking point. I'm not talking about relationship with the government. I'm talking about in the private sector. When you have a security clearance and you keep it.
I have zero relationships with the private sector that involve my security clearance. Zero. I get $0 from consulting companies that deal with the U.S. government. Are we clear?
Well, I will be clear in saying that everybody in Washington, D.C. knows if you don't want to be honest about it, that's on you. But if you have a security clearance and you keep it, you get more money to have it.
We're done. Get out.
Phil,
It's not your show, so I'm
25 years
staying
in
right
the
here.
service, and this is
Don't
the
be
shit
so
I get.
defensive about
Get
this.
out.
Don't be so defensive about this.
Phil.
Your voice is still here. You can still do whatever you
Phil,
want.
let's
But the
take a beat.
politicalization of the intelligence community under this administration, with the people coming on here every day, tweeting and talking about this administration, you all have made it about politics, not the president.
Let's take a beat here for a second. And Phil, I appreciate your patience because I know it's getting personal here. Pierce, I do a point of fact here.
All right.
And Phil makes a point, which is a point of fact. When a Phil Mudd, who serves on an advisory board for counterterror threats, goes and participates in conversations at the agency about those threats, he's not getting paid for that.
And that's how we're talking
Bill McRaven is consulted on counterterror operations because he led dozens of missions, deadly missions,
Absolutely.
where soldiers risk their lives. He's not paid for that.
And
what you seem to be doing here
No.
is saying that because people have jobs outside of government, after they leave government, that therefore you're saying that is justification to take away their clearances when government and agencies rely on them for their counsel. Is that what you're arguing?
What I'm arguing, Jim, is
Now, for the sake of time, I had to cut it short, but y'all get the gist of it. Paris Dennard basically was attacking Phil Mudd's credibility, basically saying he uses that security clearance to make money. And Phil Mudd was hot. By the way, you can go over to YouTube to watch that full clip. After that segment, Paris Dennard got a good old pat on the back from Donald Trump over on Twitter. Just watch former intelligence official Phil Mudd become totally unglued and weird while debating wonderful at Paris Dennard over Brennan's security clearance. Dennard destroyed him, but Mudd is in no mental condition to have such a clearance. Should be revoked. Now, in my opinion, Donald Trump was being petty because these people were really not in support with some of the things that he was doing, which was why he was revoking security clearances. That, on top of he didn't want them to see the shady, illegal things that he was doing. But anyway, Donald Trump tweeted that I'm sure Paris Dennard was on cloud 9 to get acknowledgement and kudos from Donald Trump. But not too long after that, this happened. Trump called this White House defender wonderful. He was fired from his previous job for alleged sexual harassment. Baby, you cannot tell me that the intelligence community banded together to get Paris Dennard out of there. Remember, Phil Mudd said, "You're done. Get out." Remember that? It was leaked that Paris Dennard was fired from Arizona State University for sexually harassing 2 employees. I'm going to put some of the details up on the screen. Y'all can pause to read. Pause to read. And pause to read. From that point, CNN suspended Paris Dennard once the details of that investigation was made public. And then CNN fired Paris Dennard. Then Ronna McDaniel felt bad for Paris Dennard. I'm sure it was under the direction of Donald Trump. She hired him at the RNC as the communications advisor for Black Media Affairs. Then Ronna McDaniel, the RNC, fired Paris Dennard. And then because he was disgraced on the political scene, he then tried to sue Arizona State University for $10 million for leaking the specifics of that investigation. What happened after that, I don't know. But the CIA and Phil Mudd, they took down Paris Dennard.